It's all yours.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Welcome around the world. It's 8 a.m. where I'm located, which is the snow kissed Toronto, Ontario, Canada. But respect and love to my old crew in Malaysia and Philippines, where I got my certified innovator. It's nighttime there right now in the future. What's up? I'm Sultan Rana. My pronouns are he and him. I'm located, as I said, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I am located on unceded territory that should belong to the Scugog of Mississauga First Nations Indigenous peoples. I am a digital literacy consultant in the York Region District School Board, which is like a big school board north of the Toronto area, and I'm a Google certified innovator, a part of the GTA or SE, the Southeast Asian cohort 2014 from Manila, and I'm a Google certified trainer as well. So I want to take us through a very, very cursory understanding of this idea of culturally sustaining pedagogies. I know a lot of us have heard culturally relevant and responsive pedagogies, but culture sustaining is not exclusive of that. It's kind of the evolution of it. And it's a very cursory overview and then a very quick story as to how useful and effective it has been in the very short time that I returned back to the classroom. So this idea of culture sustaining pedagogy, as you can see on the screen, it's actually I first came across it from this excellent book that is edited. It's a group of essays edited by Dr. Diongo Paris and H. Sami Alim. But culture sustaining pedagogies, you'll see a lot of work from Dr. Paris on it. And as you can see on the screen, it's the ability to allow, invite, and encourage students to not only use their cultural practices from home and school, but to maintain them. And culture sustaining pedagogies allow students to exist not only in the culture of the school, but also have the culture of their home exist in the school. And really, a simple, very effective way to do that is bringing in student language into the classroom in a very real, non superficial, non tokenistic way. Like, make it a part of the classroom. So I thought to myself, when I was starting up the classroom in September, like, what language, if I'm looking to insert or include or even just replace language that is institutionalized in school, that is used every day by everybody, what languages can or what words can I use to have students speak another language or speak of their home language in the class that they can't evade from. This is not something that they can just choose not to say. Also, what language is used that's institutionalized, utilized every day, and is everywhere in the classroom? And my answer to that was the curricular subjects, the math, the English, the social studies, history. If we replace those words, the colonial English terms for them, at least on this side of the globe, if we replace those with words that honor students' languages, we got something, maybe, because students can't get away from using those words, and neither can the parents, neither can the rest of the teaching staff. So this was my classroom in September. So when it came to their home languages, so again, as I said, I'm in a greater Toronto area. We're one of the most diverse municipalities in the world. But the location of my school, out of my 24 students, 23 students, more than half spoke Tamil. And then we had, one Gujarati, one Mandarin, Urdu, Somali, Arabic, and two who spoke English at home exclusively. And the thing is that it's not a majority rules kind of thing. Everyone is going to get representation in this design. So I was looking to now replace the subject titles with the equivalent in my students' languages. So this was a great time and chance to make use of something that we're all privy to, but in a very intentional, um, uh, just a very intentional way. So Google Translate and all the Google Workspace tools, what I loved about it was that when I copied and pasted anything from Google Translate, it would effectively paste into all of the tools I use. So in my docs, in my slide decks, in my day plans, even that I use through Google Sheets, it was a clean pasting. I don't know if anyone remembers. Like I remember back in the day, if I ever copied anything from another language and put it into a different word processor or a different program, it would just be, wingdings, like just symbols and everything, unless I downloaded the backup to, or sorry, the applet for reading that language in that program. So it was really, really cool. And I don't need to demonstrate how Google Translate works and what I did, but I do want to just quickly show that some of the words that we did end up using in our class to represent our students. So sorry, let's put this in preview. So I had a sign at the front so that even when supply or occasional teachers or supply teachers came in, they would know that something's going on in their class. So let me just do this in preview for you. Oh, interesting to see that preview doesn't work when you're in. Oh, there we go. So I had a sign that very clearly said our home languages will be honored and present at our other home, which is school. Another important thing to look at school as. But this right here was Angrezi. This is the Urdu word for English. We had that up on the signs. We have Shiswe, which is and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but you know what? It's about the honoring, and you work on your pronunciation. But this, right? That's Gujarati for drama, and as I was saying, Shishwe was math for Mandarin, and Nandanam, actually this is incorrect. It's actually Tamil for dance. And with the vast majority of people we had Nandanam, and then I forget what I'm trying to remember now. It's failing me. It's so early for me at this point. But as you see, grades for language arts, and we still honored the actual letters that they use. So again, the signage is everywhere. It is at the top of worksheets. It is at in the classroom. It is communication that goes home. It's in their timetable. It's everywhere. And it's I am one of those people who says every little thing that we do, ask yourself, is it performative? Ask yourself, are you just doing it to be gitchy or snazzy, or be like, look what I did, and like be checkboxy? I'm very much in that space. And I thought to myself, if I do this, you're doing that. Like, this is performative. This is just, you're not really authentically honoring student language. You're just replacing something with another thing. And part of my brain thought that, but I still went with it. So I've got a story to tell about how this came to, how I'm so happy that I did this small, what in my mind was a small action at the time, and how it proved fruitful later. So I implemented this the first week of September, which is for anyone who doesn't know, it's when our school system starts, a brand new fiscal year. And so, when I sat the students around and I asked them, tell me what is the translated word for language arts or English or math, or, and they were all super confused because they're seventh grade. They played the game of school. I'm just like, why are we changing what we've always had all our lives? So, they don't like, it's hard sometimes to get them to unlearn some of the things that they have been programmed to just believe always will be and always should stay the way they are. But when we did it and we said, all right, everybody, this is our culture sustaining class. One action is these topics or these subjects that you've called physical education or drama or science, they are now going to be, we are going to use these terms, which mean the same thing, but in the languages, in the diverse languages. So even if you speak Tamil, you're going to say the Arabic word for, using, if you need to use the restroom, which is hammam. Even if you're a Gujarati speaker, you're going to say nadanam when you're talking about the dance class, right? You're going to use Tamil. So we had to be diligent about this. And, the diligence comes also from me. It had to be in my day plans. It had to be in the communications I sent to parents. It had to be the way I spoke about it, even with colleagues who are like, what word is that? I'm like, oh yeah. Sorry, that's what we call science, or that's what we call literacy. So it had to be, there had to be a diligence about it, and me correcting students if they used, older colonial terms. So there had to be a diligence with it. Now, again, I still don't know what the outcomes are, but let me say what they eventually became and why I was so happy that I did what I did. We have one student in our class, brand new student. Identifies, or sorry, her ethnocultural background is from Somalia. And when we voted to have the word for our history class replaced, we used the Somali term, which is tarikta. And it was, everyone's language got representation. And it just so happened that we really engaged in Tarikta in a very real way. We were doing a lot of history text audits. We're asking, who's this history about? Who is it not about? Who's present? Who's not present? Who gets named? Who doesn't? Whose pictures are there? We were doing a lot of work, and Tarikta was constantly being brought up, and we're constantly thinking about it and seeing it as a very critical subject. It's a subject not where you sit and get. It's where you sit and question, and where you stand and speak, and you make sense of whose story is being told to us in Tarikda. Flash forward. So this Somali word is being used left, right, and center in this classroom, and no one's making a big deal about it. Everyone's saying it, everyone's pronouncing it, everyone's in the subject. I all of a sudden get an email in October, and this is from my principal. And it's a follow-up from student social services in our school district, following up on this one particular brand new student, my Somali student. And I was like, well, what's up? What's going on? So I sat down for the meeting, and apparently my student is coming from a school where she was badgered and harassed with racial epithets and just a lot of anti-Black racism directed at her. And I do want to, just in case people are drawing a picture in their mind about this diverse city we live in, she did come from a school that was highly populated with with students who identify as a very political perspective of Christianity, who identifies Chinese. So I share that right now to let you know, even in this work that we do, that white supremacy and racism comes also from within racialized populations as well. So just in case any of you are drawing an image in your mind. But back to the story, I digress. This student left a school where she was being bullied and being taunted with racist epithets and everything, to come to a school where naturally her language gets honored before she even says a word. The students are using it and speaking it in and around and about her, and in and around her, in a natural, non-derogatory, non-punitive way, almost like a valuable way. It's a part of their language. It's a part of their vernacular. They're using Somali terms and talking about, representation, and talking about the absence of, stories of people from the African diaspora, from who identifies Black in our history books. All of this stuff, and I didn't even know this is what she's coming to. And so when I was asked by the social services person, how are they doing? I'm like, oh, they're great, they're fine, or whatever. They're like, can you tell us if there's anything you're doing to support them and be identity affirming? I'm like, oh, heck yes, I can. And I didn't even know any of this was happening. And how grateful was I that even something I thought I questioned was tokenistic, performative, actually was a way to welcome, a way to honor, a way to give someone value about who they are. The thing that made their life difficult in one school, they just head on down the main intersection and street, go to a totally different school, and it's a whole new world for them. And I could say, without batting an eye to the social services person, I'm like, not only do I think they're happy, I think they're home. I think they are where they're supposed to be, and I'm happy they're here. And all the power to them. It's going to be a great year. So I wanted to share that story because, as I wrap up, we don't all, and I said this, I don't feel like I took this from anyone, so I'm going to quote myself on this, but this is what I've shared with teachers that I've supported. I go, we don't always know what the outcomes will be before we implement identity affirming actions. You do it sometimes without a goal or objective, but we just attempt to remold and chip away at a system that does not and never considers everyone it's serving. We don't have a very linguistically diverse schooling system, unless legally we have a bilingual system, and then we make sure there's inclusion there, be it through class or whatnot. But we're not really molding to the multi and diverse cultures whom we serve. They have their world, and it occurs at home or within their communities, and then when they come to school, it's another culture they submerge into. And sometimes when we kind of stray away from that, we don't know what kind of support or help or healing we're giving students. And as I said, it was just the story I shared. It was serendipitous that it was a healing story, just from something small I did. We did, excuse me, sorry for being so insular, something we did as a class, something we committed ourselves to. And it was just about being linguistically and having a diversity in our language and the words we use. Yeah, and that's it, everybody. Culture sustaining pedagogies. It is an evolution of to relevant and responsive pedagogy, but it's really about honoring the cultural and linguistic practices of our students and making them a part of our everyday school system. And that's it. Thanks, everybody. Grab the book. If you don't want to grab the book, grab the journal, get a sense of it. And yeah, Google has some great tools to support us in making that happen.
A massive thank you for sharing that. A really interesting topic about the way we frame things as teachers, and really thought-provoking at my end as well about the things we do and say within our lessons.
Oh, thank you.
So massive thank you for sharing. I'll stop the recording. Just to get the day.